This is a cost-benefit analysis. What do we get from holding on to grudges, and what does it cost us? So, we're going to do this very quickly. And the basic idea is that anything in life that you do, you get something from. If you weren't getting something from it, you wouldn't do it. Even if it's something that is not helping you externally, but some perverted benefit you're getting. So now we want to analyze what benefits do we get from forgiving. Excuse me, not from forgiving. Is there any water around? Some water. So what we get from, what perverted benefit do we get from not forgiving, from holding on to resentment? So who can say? What do we get? What are you getting from your resentment? What is it giving you? You can be right and make someone else wrong. You get to be right and make someone else wrong. You get to blame somebody. You don't have to take responsibility. You get sympathy from other people, that you were hurt. You get an excuse for failing. What else do you get? You remember from today's workshop? Some of the benefits?
Hiding our own weaknesses.
What?
Hiding our own weaknesses.
Hiding our weaknesses. We get to hide our weaknesses, pretend we're not weak. Satisfying our ego. Satisfying our ego, which is of course very important for every Hare Krishna devotee to do, right? At least once every hour. What else do we get? That's not a benefit, that's a cost. We're looking at the benefits. That'll come up with the cost.
Sense of vengeance.
Sense of?
Vengeance.
Vengeance. You get to get back. You get to hurt somebody. And of course, all Hare Krishna devotees must make sure they hurt somebody every day, right? If they're a bona fide devotee. Because every verse in the Bhagavad Gita says you should hurt somebody, right? Doesn't it? Of course, that's why we hold on to vengeance. And of course, there's so many stories in the Bhagavatam about devotees holding on to vengeance and not giving it up, right? Not one story, is there? But for us as conditioned souls, it appears to have some value. We can get back at somebody who hurt us, and we can hurt them also. One benefit is you could actually blackmail somebody who hurt you. Because you could say, if you do that again, I'll put it on the internet. I'll tell your guru. You can hold them hostage. I'll tell your guru. If you don't treat me right, I'll tell your guru what you did. Resentment is very practical and useful in controlling situations. Right? Okay, you get the idea. Every one of us who is holding on to resentment has some reason. There's something we think we're getting out of it. It could just be simply that it's too uncomfortable to give it up. This person does not deserve to be forgiven. They just don't deserve it. And so I'm not going to do it. And it's just out of my comfort zone to even think about doing it. So I'm comfortable. I don't have to forgive. Because I just made a reason. I gave myself an excuse for not forgiving. Because they don't deserve it. So I can stay in my comfort zone. And I actually don't have to come to forgiveness workshop because the person I'm trying to forgive doesn't deserve it. Yes? Okay, you get the idea? There's reasons. Okay, what are the costs? What does it cost us? So you said what? Stress and negativity. Yeah, lots of stress and lots of negativity. Actually, In the studies that were done, I believe at Stanford University in California, they have a department, they have a program called the Forgiveness, what is it called? Forgiveness something. So actually a professor there studied forgiveness. What they found out is that forgiveness is a constant form of stress. Resentment is a constant form of stress. The Forgiveness Project, Stanford University. Resentment is a constant form of stress because the resentment is constant. The anger that you have, sometimes it comes and goes, but the resentment stays. So it's just an upset is not a resentment. It goes. You don't hold on to it. But when you hold on to it, it's a constant form of stress, very subtle. What else do you have to pay to hold on? Sickness. Cancer, sickness. Go on the internet, Google forgiveness and cancer. Depression. Yeah, an agitated mind. You have. Okay, here's a price you pay. The person that upset you lives in your mind. Rather, we should say they live in your heart. You want to carry them around with you wherever you go? The potatoes, right? You want to carry those potatoes with you? That's a big price to pay. You don't, somebody did something, they're upsetting you. Just to think of them is disturbing, and you carry them with you everywhere you go. In your heart. What a bad place to carry them. Why don't you carry them in your foot, and you can walk on them. But you're carrying them in your heart. Not good. What else? The person who's causing you pain, you carry in your heart. Wow.
You can ruin your present. You can ruin your present.
You can ruin your...
Present.
Oh, your present. Yeah, it ruins your present because the past is influencing the present. Yeah, and your future. And you can't make your future the way you want it because the past, you're bound to the past with this little rope that says go like this. What did one devotee said when we did the visualization today in Juhu? Didn't one devotee said, I feel like my abuser has a remote control on me and he's just controlling my life? So that's one of the costs, that your abuser has a remote control on you, directing you. So you can't be the way you want to be. You want to be happy, you can't because they've got control over you. What else? Oh yeah, you blow up a lot because you're disturbed by this past event. Anytime you get around anything that's similar to that event, you become disturbed. Yes? It can cost you your Krishna consciousness sometimes. It could make offense. It can cost you your japa because you're disturbed by it and you're thinking about it. I mean, it's expensive, right? So now, you look at the benefits and you look at the cost. Is it worth it? Of course not. So, to hold on to resentment is stupid, isn't it? If you ran a business, would you invest in resentment with this cost-benefit analysis? Would you invest your 16 rounds in it? No. You would be crazy, right? So, remember that there's something we're getting out of it, and that's why we're holding on to it. But wherever we're getting out of it is a perverted form of pleasure that has really nothing to do with spiritual life, and it's costing us a lot. So yesterday we did this visualization of how it feels, right? So it felt bad in here, and I'm trying to make you feel bad up here also. I want you to feel so bad that you just want to let it go. Excuse me for making you feel bad, but it works actually. I'll make you feel good in a little while. But I have to make you feel bad first, because you have to realize just like if you're envious of someone, you feel very bad. But you have to actually recognize you feel bad. You have to allow yourself to feel bad. Otherwise you don't want to give it up. How much better do you feel, but rather than being envious, you support someone? You feel better, don't you? So Patanjali says, if you're envious of someone, become their well-wisher. Because there's nothing more opposite than envy than being a well-wisher. Do you feel better being a well-wisher than being envious? Of course you do. So, Don't torture yourself more than you have to. Don't torture yourself any longer than you have to. Okay. We did a cost-benefit analysis, and then yesterday we did the exercise, I can't and I choose to. So that means forgiveness is a choice. And if you say I can't forgive, better you say I choose not to forgive. Okay? That's more accurate. Now, Prabhupada said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the devotees who forgive. Right? So that means Krishna wants us to forgive. And that means everything that Krishna wants us to do is a personal choice to whether or not we'll do it, right? Krishna says, surrender to me, and then he tells Arjuna, so you decide if you want to do it. It's up to you. I've instructed you, you do it. No, I think that came before surrender. Right in the 18th chapter, isn't it? A few verses before surrender, then he says, I've instructed you, do what you want to do, right? So we always have a choice. And so forgiveness is also just another choice. Every instruction is a choice. If every instruction is not a choice, then how could Krishna ask you to do it if you couldn't choose to do it? That would be quite unfair, wouldn't it? So every instruction Krishna gives you, he gives you the choice, whether you'll do it or not. Okay, the next item, beliefs about forgiveness. You may have beliefs that prevent you from forgiving. For example, one very common belief is that I cannot forgive unless the person apologizes. Very common. Or I cannot forgive because of this situation. So you have a belief. Now, let's say you go through this workshop and you say, the workshop was great, everything was nice, but I can't forgive. And I say, why? And you say, because I'm waiting for him to apologize. Because I don't believe I can forgive unless he apologizes. Right? So because of that belief, you're paralyzed in your forgiving. And if I say, no, it's okay to forgive if he doesn't apologize. It's all right, you can do that. And then I say, now will you forgive? And you say, well, if I don't have to wait for him to apologize, I guess I can forgive now. But as long as you hold on to that restriction, he must apologize, you won't forgive until he apologizes. So now, let's look at this situation. It's quite interesting. You say, this person has hurt me, and I'm waiting for him to apologize. And I say to you, the power for you to forgive this person has been given away by you personally to that person. It's in his hands, it's not in your hands anymore. Because until he apologizes, you will not forgive. So you are helpless now. You can no longer make a choice to forgive because you've given your choice away to this person. If you choose to apologize, I will forgive you. Is that stupid or is that stupid? We should never have rules that govern our life that prevent us from doing what we want to do. We have many rules in our life that govern our life. We don't even know we have them. I have a worksheet. If I get your email, make sure we have your email. I'll send it to you. It has about 25 beliefs about forgiveness. I can't forgive a family member. I can't forgive because of this. I can't forgive because of that. It's just beliefs that you pick up in your society, from your parents, from the movies, wherever you get them. Well, if you pick it up from the movies, I can't forgive him until I beat him up. Right? Isn't that how it works in the movies? Isn't it? Person harms you, and you go beat him up. Right? Isn't it? Why are people getting beat up in the Bollywood movies? They must have offended somebody. Isn't it? Yes? Is that why they're getting beat up? So, I can forgive after I beat him up. That's a Bollywood belief, right? Okay, now you're on the floor. I forgive you now. You walk off. So, don't give your power away to beliefs which inhibit you from forgiving. I can't forgive because it's my mother, and she shouldn't have done that. It's unforgivable. A mother should never do that. If it was my aunt, I could, but not my mother. Okay, so now you spend the rest of your life holding on to your resentment because you have a belief that mothers shouldn't do this, and if they do, it's unforgivable. Why would you want that belief if you want to forgive. You understand what I'm saying? So if you find that you have a belief that's preventing you from forgiving, you have to dissolve that belief. Does that make sense? Anyone have a question? You can raise your hand if that wasn't clear. Yes?
Does every anger turn to resentment?
No. Every anger does not turn to resentment, and we'll talk about that in a little while, why it does and why it doesn't. Okay, the next one. Seeing your own faults in others. If we focus on others' faults, we lose sight of our own. So, the reason that we have resentment is because we're focused on the other person, what's wrong with them. We're not focused on our response to what they did. Isn't it true? Are you thinking about how you responded, or are you thinking about what they did wrong? I can tell you from experience of counseling, you're thinking about what they did wrong. You're not thinking about how you responded. You're thinking your response is normal and natural to what they did. And then you come to me and say, how can I forgive them because what they did is so wrong? Yes? Does that make sense? So we want to focus on what's our part. We did the orange example yesterday? Squeezing the orange? Did we do that? Oh, we didn't do that. So, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out of the orange? Mango juice, right? Yeah, of course. Everybody knows that. Orange juice. He corrected me, I was wrong. Orange juice comes out of oranges. That's amazing. So that's where orange juice comes from. Oh, okay, now I know. Why does orange juice come out of oranges and not mango juice? Probably because there's orange juice inside and not mango juice. Yeah. Okay. So when you squeeze an orange juice comes out because that's what's inside. So question number 2, when you are squeezed, what comes out of you? Anger. If all the kids, every time there's a kid here, they go, blood and pus. That may be true, depends where you're squeezing. But when you're squeezed, what comes out of you is what is inside of you, right? So, a devotee who's introspective, who's trying to practice humility, when he sees something coming out of him, he understands that this person has done something, but he looks at himself and says, why am I reacting? Okay, what he did is wrong. That's one half of the equation. But now what I'm doing is wrong also. So if he did something wrong, why am I doing something wrong? 2 rights, 2 wrongs don't make 1 right. But so often we don't look at our part of the equation. An event plus your response equals the outcome. So so-and-so did something wrong, I respond with upset. You respond with tolerance. It was the same event, but the response was different, and the outcome then becomes different. Yes? So a devotee who's introspective will realize, okay, I'm around this person is upsetting me, so that means the problem's with me. A neophyte will think the problem is with them. Yes? True or true? I think it's true. When you see another person's fault, Bhaktisiddhanta said, stop looking at it and look at your own. That will protect you. Right? So when you're squeezed, if something bad comes out of you, the other person didn't put it in you. They only put in a catalyst. So the catalyst mixed with you, and then it came out, right? Now, when Prahlad Maharaj was squeezed, what came out of him? Harinam came out. What else came out? Some kripa came out. He asked Nrsingadev to liberate his father. When Ambarish Maharaj was squeezed by Durvasa Muni, what came out of him? Compassion. Basically, equanimity came out. He wasn't even upset. It was just shanti, sama. When Thakur Haridas was being beaten to death, what came out of him? Oh Krishna, oh Mahaprabhu, please don't send these poor souls who are killing me to hell. Wow. What came out of Lord Jesus Christ? Yeah. So they're being squeezed and what's inside is coming out. We're being squeezed and what's in us, inside of us comes out. And if what you don't like what comes out, thank the person. Say, thank you so much for showing me what's inside of me. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if somebody criticizes you, you should think Krishna has sent somebody to make you more humble than a blade of grass. Turn to your wives right now and say, thank you, honey, for making me more humble than a blade of grass. Somebody says, Mahatma Prabhu, how do you become humble? Mahatma Prabhu says, get married. It works every time. So, Krishna has sent this person to make me more humble than a blade of grass. Thank you. Krishna has sent this person to teach me tolerance. Thank you. Wow. What a way to live. Now you're blaming another person for what's going on inside of you? Is that stupid or is that stupid? That's maha stupid. Because you cannot benefit yourself because they just showed you what's wrong with you. What an opportunity to improve. Now I'm looking, all this stuff is gushing out, is all toxic and ugly. Now I can go to the doctor and say, look doctor, look what's coming out. I need to be cured. So it's a great opportunity. Okay. So now we're going to answer your question, and that's the next point. It's called core hurts and core needs. So the question is, why we get offended by specific behavior? So we're asking, what's the difference between just being upset and it turning into resentment? So, two people are treated the same way. One person's upset and one person isn't upset. We see that all the time. If you work, you probably see it all the time. You know, the person next to you is going crazy and you're thinking, calm down, it's not that bad, what's wrong? So, there's a reason for this, and this has been studied by psychologists, and what they found out is that every one of us has certain sensitivities. A sensitivity just means we need a little more of something than the average person. So, you might need a little more love, you might need a little more respect, you might need a little more honor, you might need a little more trust, you might need a little more understanding. It's the way you are. And so, if you don't get a little more love, if you don't get a little more understanding, you get upset. But if I don't get a little more love, I don't get upset. I got enough love in my life. If I don't get any tomorrow, I'm fine. But maybe in your life, you didn't get enough. Or maybe you got too much. You got so much that when you go out in the world, if you don't get a lot every day, you go crazy. Or maybe you didn't get any. Maybe your parents weren't good parents. You didn't get any. And then you go out in the world, and if somebody criticizes you, you fall apart. Isn't it? Let's say you were betrayed when you were younger. And now trust is really important for you. You're hurt, so trust is really big. And somebody says they're going to do something, and they don't do it, and you just break down. So, here's the point. The difference between an upset and a resentment is, a resentment touches that core sensitivity. It's an expectation that you had because of your nature that wasn't met. Whereas a normal agitation, it might be a little expectation, but it doesn't touch that core need that you have as a person for trust or love or acknowledgement. We all want trust, we all want love, we all want acknowledgement, we all want honor. Yes? We all want to be understood. But some of us need it so badly that it creates an abnormal situation in our life. If you marry someone that's extremely needy for love, you'll never be able to satisfy him or her because it's an abnormal need, right? Maybe you marry a mama's boy. He's like 42. He finally moves out of the house, gets married. And he's like, been smothered with love. And maybe you're not a smotherer, and it's like he's not happy with you, right? He has an abnormal need for love. You have mama's boys in India? Yeah. Too many, right? Yeah. And you don't cook like mama cooks, so he's not a happy camper, right? He wants you to cook like mama cooked, Everyone has these due to our past karma and samskar. We have something that's a little abnormal. And when you're expecting and you don't get it, you get hurt. And so if you look at your resentment, there was an expectation that was not met. And that's how you understand where your sensitivity is. Because if it wasn't a sensitivity, it wouldn't bother you. It would upset you for a day, 2, 3, a week, not 10 years. It wouldn't stick to you. But because you were expecting it and it was a need that you had, you don't get it. You don't get it, and then you become resentful. Should I explain that again, or is that clear, not clear, or? So you just want to understand it's normal to be this way, but it's really dangerous because it makes your life difficult. And if you ever see somebody upset and you think, I didn't do anything, you probably struck a core hurt or a core need the person has. I just said, I asked you to get it done at 4 and it's 4:30, can you hurry up? And then the person falls apart. He said, I told them an hour ago I needed it at 4, now it's 4:30, I'm just telling them to hurry up, and they fall apart. Have you had that experience? That means that person really has a need to be honored and respected. They've been so probably denigrated in their life, so put down and criticized that they can't take it anymore. Now I'm going to tell you something amazing. Would you like to hear an amazing story? When my daughter was 2.5, she was in a play, and my wife used to be a professional actress, and I actually studied acting in school, and if I wasn't a devotee, I would have probably liked to make movies. So we were a pretty good team to get her into it, right? So we're telling her, no, you don't, she's showing us, and I said, no, you don't do it like this, you do it like that. She ran into her room at the age of 2.5, chanting a mantra, I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm no good. That word, you're no good, was never uttered once in our family. Only positive reinforcement. We never ever said anything negative. Where did that come from? 2.5 years old. Just by saying, honey, do it like this instead of like that. She runs away crying, I'm no good, I'm no good. Something from the past life came in, right? I know that about my daughter. Do you think I yell at her? Never, ever. She'd be devastated. So, where did it come from? Why did it come from? I don't know, but it was there at the age of 2.5. Interesting, isn't it? So, it's just the human condition. We all have it. Now, if you're aware of it, then you can be aware of how it can control you and how it can upset relationships. So next time when you get upset, maybe you'll realize, oh, I had a need, I really have a deep need to be respected and I wasn't respected, and that's why I'm upset. And the person, they're not the kind of person that shows respect. I'm never going to get it from them. And that's why I'm always upset with them, because I want to be around people who respect me. And these people don't respect me, and I'm always upset with them. So it's about me. It's not about them. They don't know how to give respect. And I'm expecting it, because I need it. Yes? Comes a resentment. Make sense? You need respect? Anyway, does anyone have any question on that? Okay, so if you have an issue with resentment, you think of the expectation that wasn't met, and then you understand. That's your core hurt, right? Okay, the next one, exercise 7. Identify your core hurts well. Just think of your resentment. Okay, now we're going to talk about compassion, then we're going to do an exercise. Compassion is the heart of a Vaishnava. Gurudas said, sometimes I feel bad for others. Prabhupada said, only sometimes? So, we're going to do an exercise now, and I need everyone to find a partner. And it's going to be exercise between two, so it can't be three. So kind of move around and find somebody, or look at the person next to you and say, Prabhu, will you be my partner? And then your partner will say, let me think about it. Let me check my options here, and I'll get back to you. So find a partner, and then we'll work. Everyone needs a partner, so that means you're included in everyone. So please find a partner. And if you need a partner and you can't find one, raise your hand, and then all those raising hands can come together and make a partner. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I have a disclaimer to make. What we just went through in the full day workshop takes about 4 hours. We just went through in the last 10 minutes. So I'm just kind of like touching on everything to try to get through it all quickly. But this last topic I could talk about for at least another 20 minutes. But we don't have time, okay? So, the essence of Vaishnavism is compassion. Prabhupada said this. This is what distinguishes the devotee, his compassion. So we're going to do an exercise now where partner A is going to play the person you're forgiving. So partner A, raise your hand. Now raise your hand if you're going to be partner A. You figure it out. You are the person you're forgiving. Okay? You are incarnated into the person you are forgiving. And partner B now becomes you. So you are the person you're forgiving, and your partner is you. And you're going to talk to them, and you're going to tell them why you did what you did. So this is a real life story. You'll like this one. I heard at a seminar when they were doing a session on forgiveness, and the facilitator of the workshop told a story about his father, and he said the whole time he grew up, his father never once said, I love you. So it was like driving him crazy. And he always wanted to ask his father, why did you never say I love you? But every time he tried to ask, he would just shy. He would get shy. He couldn't ask. So he finally said, he finally got the nerve and he said, why did you never say you love me? He said, love you, you're the joy of my life. When you were born, my whole life changed. He was going on and on and on and on. And he's thinking, why didn't he ever express that? I'm asking him and he's saying, you were the greatest thing that ever happened to me, but he never expressed it. So he started thinking about his life, and either his father told him or he learned that during Nazi Germany, his father was informed that the Nazis are coming. Maybe they were in Poland. And so he went to make arrangements to leave. And then when he came back, he found his whole family dead on the floor. They'd already been shot. And then the Nazis were coming, and there was a pile of dead bodies, and he jumped in the pile of dead bodies so they wouldn't kill him. And they came through the pile of dead bodies to see if everyone was dead, and they stuck a gun on him. And then the sergeant said, let's go. So then he said, now I understand why he could never say I love you, because he's been traumatized. That was his life. So sometimes you just have to understand the story. Another real life story of a seminar, there was a man at the seminar with an issue with forgiveness against his mother because his mother put him up to adoption when he was 1 year old. This was not my seminar, but I was told by a devotee who went to this seminar. So he had a huge issue. How could a mother put her son up for adoption? He just gave her away. And he was probably in his early 20s. So the facilitator of the workshop said, call your mother, and I want you to deal with this issue. So he called her mother, and her mother said, He wasn't raised by his mother. He didn't really have a relationship. She said, I was a drug addict. And I couldn't possibly take care of you. And it was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life, was to give you away. But it was the right thing. Because if I would have tried to raise you, you would have had a horrible life. So do you think he changed? That moment, the resentment was gone. Isn't that amazing? So you want to try to get into what is that, go back to their life, How did they grow up? If you know it. How did their parents treat them? Everything. Practically without fail, every child that's been sexually abused was abused by a person who was sexually abused. You can almost be guaranteed of that. It just goes and continues. And if the abused child doesn't heal himself, they'll do it. Usually bad behavior continues, so you want to, just enter this realm of what was going on for this person in their youth. And as best you can understand, try to represent them and tell your story. Okay? Can we do that? So partner A, you're going to begin, and you are the person you're forgiving, and you're speaking to partner B, who represents yourself. And then when you finish telling your story, then partner B, it will be your turn. Then you'll incarnate into the person you're forgiving, and your partner incarnates as you. Is anybody still not clear? If you're not clear, it means you ate too much prasadam tonight. That's how we know who ate too much. Okay? So just begin, take as much time as you need, and then when partner A you finish, partner B you continue, and then in a certain amount of time I'll ask if anyone needs more time. Okay? Let's begin. Compassion is a very important aspect. And then you can see, from doing this exercise, you can see that without compassion, you won't be able to forgive. Because resentment means to punish, and compassion is the opposite of punishment. You know when you get angry, what is more paradoxical, or what is more antithetical to compassion than anger? Because anger is intended to hurt, isn't it? To hurt, harm, control. The Jagya pit is open for business. If anybody wants to come and fill it up, it's taking donations of torn up paper. On one hand, you have compassion, and compassion means you're feeling some of the other person's pain. On the other hand, you have anger, which is to give pain. And resentment is just to give pain. Right? Compassion is to soothe it. So without compassion, you can't be forgiving. It's a very important ingredient. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. Okay, so now, exercise 9, Okay, in this exercise, you're going to imagine that you have no resentment in your heart. It's gone. You're free of resentment. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Resentment is gone. And you're going to imagine what that feels like. What it would feel like if you had no resentment. And you're going to write down the analogy. It feels like. Or you're going to draw your picture. And if you draw a picture, do it on a separate piece of paper and fill up the whole paper, so if you want to show it to everybody, we can see it. Okay? So what will it allow yourself to imagine that at this moment in time there's no resentment within your heart, and imagine what you would feel like without it. You've left this seminar, you're not carrying any burden anymore, you're completely free. How does it feel? So write it on a separate piece of paper if you can. You have a separate piece left? Yeah. At least if you're doing a drawing, write it on a separate piece. Okay? How does it feel? How would it feel to be free of resentment? So now we're going to ask some of you to share your analogies. Who's ever ready, you can come up, you can share. If you have a picture, then come to the front. Well, it's nice if you come to the front, at least if you feel like it. You can come. You want to share? Who wants to share? Okay. Dove. All right, you can, I don't know if you can see it, but you can explain it.
Let's explain this. I've got a heart full of love inside. And there is a dove inside which is carrying peace. And over the heart there is a base which is full of light. There is no darkness inside. Thank you very much.
Jai. Nice. Who's next?
I feel like a child.
Feel like a child. Very nice. Free, happy, without cares. And Prabhupada said, we should be childlike. Do you know that? He said, the devotee should be childlike. Not childish, but childlike. So that type of free, without cares, happy. Who else would like to share?
When we chant, when we dance in the kirtan,
Can't hear. I'll give you the mic.
When we dance the kirtan slowly starts, and when we in the end, we all worries go away. We dance classically. That moment we feel free of everything.
So, give us an analogy. It feels like
It's feel like that there's only the one name is Harinam. There's nothing else in this world. All worries goes away. All tensions goes away. Everything is fantastic moment. The fresh, we rebirth is there.
And how do you feel?
I feel that it's a very passionate in that moment, and I feel very enthusiastic in that moment. I feel very fresh in that moment.
Fresh. Just got a heart cleanse. Fresh. Yes. Thank you. Enthusiastic. Fresh. Happy. Liberated. Ecstatic. Sounds pretty good. Okay. Who else? How you feel without any resentment?
I feel like, I'm on a beach, a very quiet, very calm beach, in my shorts, very nice blue t-shirt, air, very cool breeze, ocean breezes, and I'm just standing there enjoying it. That's how it feels.
Cool breezes. It feels like cool. Totally cool. You know the Hindi word for cool, or cool is universal. Totally cool. I'm feeling totally cool. My daughter can do a perfect Hindi English accent. Perfect. If I played you a recording of her, you would not think she's American. Someday she'll come and do it for you. She had it perfect at the age of 10 or 11. Okay. It's like totally amazing. The way she does it, totally amazing, I tell you. Okay, so, anybody else want to share the feeling? Okay, so, at least we know now that it feels better to be free of resentment than to hold on, and we have experience, right? So, we visualize what it would be like. Maybe some of you feel this way now, but this is your impetus. If you live your life with resentment, you have to carry it with you. Yes? You don't want to do that, do you? Not fun. Okay, so the next exercise. Oh yeah, let's go to the next paragraph. It says, so it's right under exercise 9. It says, forgiveness is not about you and them, it is about you and Krishna. And Prabhupada says, God is pleased with those who are forgiving. So, you think it's between you and them this way, but it's between you and him. Because the relationships we have this way also define the relationships that go this way. Yes? Now, I'm going to tell you an amazing story, which we did tell in Juhu. There was a teacher who told her students, bring a picture of somebody you hate. And so each student would put the picture on the wall, and then the teacher would say, throw darts at the picture. And then that next student would come and they'd throw darts. But what they didn't know is behind their picture was a picture of Jesus Christ. So when she pulled all their pictures off with the holes, there was holes in the picture of Jesus. And Jesus said, as you treat the least of them is how you treat, is how you treat me. So how you deal with God's children is how you deal with God. And the whole class was crying. It's a true story. So our relationship with one another defines our relationship with God. When you say someone's a Kanishta Adhikari on the lowest level, that's because he hasn't learned or she hasn't learned how to associate with devotees. Did you know that? The devotee who's extremely critical and blasphemous and is not concerned with relationships, that's Kanishta level. So your relationship with Krishna is being right in the scripture. It's saying you're Kanishta because you don't know how to associate with devotees. You do service, that's fine, but you just think of God, you don't think of the devotee. Right? So, one of the principles, fundamental principles of bhakti is you do something for Krishna's pleasure. So then, what greater reason is there to forgive other than Krishna wants you to do it and it will please him? Is there any greater motivation than that? I don't feel like forgiving, but Krishna will be pleased if I do it. Right? So it's not even about the person. Really, it's about you and Krishna. Isn't that interesting? Yes? About you and Krishna. So you forgive because Krishna wants you to. You forgive because Krishna will be pleased. What did Prabhupada say? God is pleased with those who are forgiving. So here's another way. You just learned today how you can please Krishna. And if you don't forgive, Krishna's not going to like you. Well, he'll still like you, but he won't be as pleased as if you forgive. Yes? No? Sounds good? So, this is the principle of bhakti. It sounds too simple, right? I know it sounds too simple. I should just forgive because it'll please Krishna. But that's the essence. Yes? Okay.
Is it only Krishna or also Guru?
Guru also, of course. You know how upset gurus are when devotees don't get along? You know that? Your guru spends all his time teaching you to be humble, teaching you to serve, teaching you to appreciate, teaching you to be forgiving, teaching you to enthuse others, and then two devotees don't get along. It's so disturbing. It was disturbing to Prabhupada. A funny story. So many devotees were coming to Prabhupada, and they were saying, Prabhupada, I can't work with this one. Another one comes, I can't work with that one. And Prabhupada said, I curse you to take birth in India. And I was like, this was in 1975. India was not a nice place to be. No, Prabhupada, don't curse us to take birth in India. One of my godbrothers told me that story. This is so frustrating. So yes, to please your guru. What's more pleasing to your guru than you get along with other devotees? One time, somebody said, Prabhupada, how do we know you're pleased with our service? He said, I asked the temple president. If he's pleased with you, I'm pleased with you. Simple. Two devotees went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, we want to serve you, but we don't want to serve the GBC. Prabhupada said, we just want to do what you want to do, but we don't want to serve the GBC and we don't want to serve the temple president. Prabhupada said, that's fine. You want to do what I want you to do? They said, yes, Prabhupada, serve the GBC and the temple president. They said, no. We don't have faith in them. They do bad things. We want to serve you. So I say, if you want to serve me, serve the GBC and the temple president. Now the sad truth of this story is they didn't. They argued with Prabhupada. They said, no, they're bad. I say, they are my representatives to serve them. And then in the conversation, Prabhupada said, he got frustrated with them. He said, then do whatever you want. Which meant they were rejected. If your guru says do whatever you want, that means he rejected you. He's no longer instructing you. Those are the only two disciples Prabhupada ever rejected. With those words, then do whatever you want. They say, why are you coming to me? Just do what you want. So, Guru is happy when you get along. So obviously the Guru is happy when you're forgiven. Right? Yes? Okay. So now we're going to do another exercise, which is a beautiful exercise. So you have to be next to your partner. If you're not, go next to your partner and I'll explain this exercise. And I will need Utsav to help me demonstrate. Okay. Well, actually, sit there for a minute. I want to explain the exercise first. And then we'll talk a little bit about this. So partner A, you're going to play Krishna. Only for 3 minutes. Don't get any ideas. And just playing Krishna, this feels pretty good. Can we do this a little longer? How about another few days? No. This is why we came into the world. So be careful when you play Krishna. And no gopis, no dancing or any of that. So, you're playing Krishna and your partner is playing you. And you're going to tell the story from Krishna's perspective. So you just told the story from the perspective of the person you're forgiving. Now, it's like Krishna comes to the scene, he says, I've seen everything that's going on. This is how I see it. So you have to imagine, if Krishna were talking to you, what would he tell you about what's going on? Right? So now, we want to enter into like a deeper understanding because ultimately God's the controller. And we know, according to our philosophy, karma is meant for our rectification. So if there's some karma or Krishna puts us in a situation, there's something he wants to tell us, there's something he wants to learn, there's some way he wants to improve us. Right? Just like, I don't know if I said this yesterday, but I think this is a really worthy topic to discuss, and I think any workshop on forgiveness is extremely beneficial. And you will have to thank the person who hurt you that you're here in the workshop. Because if they didn't hurt you, you may not be here. Yes? So actually, the bad event was good because now you're learning more about yourself, what's in your heart, how to be forgiving, and so forth, right? So it was actually good that something bad happened because it got you moving. So you kind of want to look at it from Krishna's perspective, what he might say. Okay? Karmically. In the Bhagavatam, there's a purport in which it said that sometimes Krishna, although a devotee doesn't have karma, Krishna puts the devotee in a situation to cause some suffering which will uproot the devotee's tendency to commit a sin. There might be something that Krishna tells you in regard to that. Okay, so let's demonstrate how this works. So, Utsav is going to be, I'm partner A, Utsav is partner B. So, as partner A, who am I? Who can tell me? And who is he? He's Mahatma, right? So I say, Mahatma Prabhu. You needed to learn something because when this Guru Sannyasi left, you should have thought he's actually distressed. You know, he's having a difficult time. He couldn't do this. You should have called him and said, how can I help you? How can I serve you? You didn't call him. You just got mad at him. And I wanted you to learn something. And it was only through this incident and your suffering that you came to realize that you did the wrong thing. And not only that, and this is true, you felt betrayed by him. But 4 years before he left, you betrayed him and left his zone. And I didn't realize that until I did this exercise. My issue, my sensitivity was betrayal. And in 1981, I walked out in his zone, and I had been one of the main people in his zone. I actually betrayed him. And I didn't even realize that until I forgave him that I actually betrayed him. So now Krishna's helping me realize. You actually, 5 years later, you betrayed him. And then you're getting back. And you didn't even realize it. Yeah, so you say something like that. Okay? So partner A, you're Krishna. Partner B, you're the incarnation of partner A. And you're going to speak. And Krishna's going to speak through you. And he's going to explain his vision of the story. And then when you finish, you'll change. And partner B will be Krishna. Does anyone have any questions? Anybody confused? Anybody eat too many puris for dinner? Okay, we're good. You want to share? No? Yeah, we're good story. Okay. We're very anxious to hear the words of Krishna coming that Krishna spoke to you. So who would like to share when Krishna spoke to them? What did Krishna say? Anybody like to tell us? You're keeping it a secret?
When he was speaking as Krishna for me, he told me two things. That time has healed the differences, and we are temporary in the world, and the relationship is also temporary. Two things which I...
Oh, he was preaching to you?
Yes.
Oh, that was the wrong exercise.
And he was Krishna for me.
No, you're supposed to be Krishna.
I could not.
He's too advanced to become Krishna. Wow, amazing. Who else would like to share? Anyway, it's true, life is temporary. Relationships are temporary. This is sometimes good. The relationship is not so good. You'll be happy it's temporary. So, who else would like to share? Anything good happen? Krishna reveal anything useful? No? Somebody? Is anybody home out there? Yes.
Now you can make a new beginning in the relationship.
Meaning?
Now you are forgiven, no? So you don't have a resentment. So make a new start in the relationship.
That's all you said?
That's one good thing.
Thank you. What else? Come on. Participate. Let's hear. It's not time to be shy.
The situation that I had spoken about on the first day, I had taken the same situation. And today, when I had to think from the perspective of Krishna, I felt that the scene that was created was to humble me, make me realize to control my anger, and the most important thing is that in future, when I will be in the same position as that person, with a third person maybe, I should know how to behave and learn how to behave.
Perfect. Thank you. There's a saying that if you see someone behaving in a way that's upsetting, you do exactly what she does. You say, now I know how I don't want to behave. This person is showing me exactly what I don't want to do. That's good. Okay. So, now, how do you know that you've actually forgiven somebody? When you see them, you're not upset. When you think about what happened, you're not upset. When you look back at your life, if you hold on resentment, so many events of your life will go in your mind and will not upset you. And then that one event will upset you. Right? It's like watching a reel on the television and your life is going by, and then there's a one event and that's upsetting. When you forgive, you watch the reel and that one event goes by with equal effect on you as every event. There's no different. That's how you know you're forgiven. Forgiveness is that powerful. It releases the negative energy. So, it's something very important for you to work on. Okay?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
how to forgive? I mean, I have to forgive my own self.
How to forgive your own self?
Yeah. It's very...
Sometimes you have to forgive your mother before you can forgive yourself, if she's the one who's causing you not to forgive yourself. Which could be. I don't know if that's your case. But if you can't forgive yourself, then one way we can look at it is Krishna forgives us, yes? Like Krishna forgave Jagat and Madha. Are you as bad as Jagat and Madha? No, not even close. You're light years away from Jagat and Madha. Do you know that Jagat and Madha were reading the Manu Samhita? Did you know that? The Manu Samhita is a law book. It tells you all the dormant laws. If you break this, if you do this, then you should be punished this way. If you do that, you should be punished this way. It's a law book. So they're going through the Manu Samhita. And they're going, Jagat, look at this one. We haven't committed this sin yet. I didn't even know this sin existed. It's right here in the Manu Samhita. Seriously. That's why they read it, to find some sin that they can commit that they haven't yet committed. So, they're pretty bad. Did Lord Nityananda forgive them? Yes. Are you as bad as Jagat Madhai? No. Will Krishna forgive you? Yes. So why don't you do what Krishna does and forgive you? Why are you trying to do something that he doesn't even do? Right? Will Prabhupada forgive you? Of course. If Prabhupada didn't forgive us, we wouldn't have a Hare Krishna movement. Because every one of us makes mistakes. And if you don't forgive yourself, you can't progress, because you'll stop your progress, because you'll lose enthusiasm. Now, to not forgive yourself is symptomatic of the mode of ignorance, because everything in the mode of ignorance goes down. Right? So we have a story. A man is walking down the street, he falls over in a mud puddle. He's all muddy and he's all wet. And there's all these people around him and he's laying in the mud puddle and he's saying, I'm so stupid, I slipped in the mud. I'm such a jerk. I slipped in the mud and fell. I wasn't watching where I was going. I'm so spaced out. And everybody's looking at him thinking, why don't you just get up? And he goes on and on and on. I'm so this, I'm so that, I'm so this, I'm so that. Everybody's thinking, what's wrong with this guy? He's laying in a mud puddle. That's what it's like not to forgive yourself. That's the mode of ignorance. It keeps you down. So, is Krishna pleased if you go towards him, or is Krishna pleased if you stay down? So if you don't forgive yourself, you can't go towards Krishna. So Krishna's not pleased. So Krishna must be pleased if you forgive yourself, because that allows you to move forward to get out of the mud puddle. Is that okay? That's my analysis after thinking about this for like 6 years and trying to figure it out. anything which takes you further away from Krishna is not pleasing to him. So don't ever think it's okay to do something that keeps you away from Krishna, and Krishna would be happy about it. He's not. Right? So, I tell devotees, Krishna is waiting for you right now in Braj. He's wondering, when are you going to come? And when you finally get there, Krishna's going to say, I was waiting for you. So anything you can do to speed it up, to get back, will make Krishna happy. So if you can get back in this lifetime, he'll be really happy. Right? So how could you do something that keeps you away from Krishna and think that he's happy about it? Doesn't make sense. So if you're harming yourself in any way, Krishna's not happy. And not forgiving yourself is a form of harm. Isn't it? The mode of ignorance means you handicap yourself, you don't take action to make yourself better. The mode of goodness is you do things which take you to Krishna, bring you closer. So depression is the mode of ignorance. Right? She's got it. You got it? Maybe? Yes? Yeah. She's also in the same position. Okay. We're going to do another exercise. We have 2 more exercises. So the next exercise is you're going to appreciate your offender. So your partner's going to play your offender and you're going to appreciate them. Prabhu, what if I don't appreciate them? You're going to appreciate them anyway. Last night we were talking about this. How if you don't feel like bowing down, you bow down. Did we talk about that? Yes. So this is a practical exercise. I don't feel like appreciating him. He's got nothing appreciable. He's all bad. Appreciate. Find something to appreciate. So what I told you yesterday was sometimes it's easier to act your way into a new way of thinking than it is to think your way into a new way of acting. Sometimes if you try to think your way into a new way of acting, to develop the attitude, it may not come. But then you can act your way into a new way of thinking. I can make you all very happy right now by acting. You want to do something really fun? We still have 10 minutes. Everybody stand up. Everybody put your arms up in the air. And everybody smile. Now I'm going to give you some instructions right now. I want you to smile, really big smile. And you have to keep smiling during this exercise. Don't stop smiling, okay? Smile big, big, big smile now. Feel depressed. I want you to feel depressed. Keep smiling. Put your hands up. Depression, sadness. Smile, smile, smile. Misery. Misery, smile, smile. Misery, depression, sadness, melancholy, moroseness. Smile. Keep your hands up. Smile, smile. You guys are doing very good. I said misery, sadness. Okay, sit down. You're useless. There was a seminar, and the seminar facilitator told the story, and this man came up to him like this. He said, I'm really depressed. I'm really unhappy. My life is not good. So the seminar facilitator started going like this. Started bending over. Okay, continue. Yeah. And then he goes, this really works. I'm feeling depressed also. So, sometimes you're not happy and you go, Haribo, Garanga! Right? Why do you do that? Because you want to be happy and enthusiastic, so sometimes you have to force yourself a little bit. So Prabhupada said, if you don't feel like dancing, dance, and then you feel like dancing. Right? So I don't feel like appreciating, and I don't see anything to appreciate. No, this is the exercise. Just do it and see what happens. Okay? Do the action and see if the mentality follows. So partner A, you begin, and you're going to, partner B is playing the person you're forgiving, and you're going to appreciate that person. Somehow or other, you're going to do it. Right? Because you're a devotee and you can do it. Okay? Are we ready? Let's go. Go ahead. When partner A finishes and partner B, it's your turn. Okay? Let's do it. Okay, so we have one more exercise. Okay. Shh. Did anyone have difficulty doing that exercise? Raise your hand if you found that difficult. Okay, good. So you'll be ready for the next exercise. Shh. I have 4 minutes left. I need your attention. In the next exercise, you can do a similar thing, but this time you're going to bless your offender. You're going to offer them blessings. You're going to pray for their well-being. Why would we bless somebody that's tormented us and disturbed us? Why would you want to do such a crazy thing? Because you're devoted. So we should only desire the greatest good for our worst enemy. That's Bhaktisiddhanta. Okay? So can we do this? So you do the same thing. Instead of appreciation, you can offer blessings. May you go back to Godhead in this lifetime. You offer genuine blessings. May you be surrounded by devotees. May you become enlightened. There should be no aggression in your blessing. Right? May you stop being an idiot. May you stop tormenting other people. Not like that. Okay? Do a genuine blessing from your heart. Bless your offender. Okay? Just take a few seconds. Give your blessings. We honor God, we honor Krishna and great acharyas, spiritual masters, for bringing us the gift of knowledge that life is suffering. Buddha brought us. Do you know Buddha brought that knowledge? Life is suffering. Suffering is caused by attachment. If you want to become free from suffering, become detached. Krishna said, Dukkhalayam sasvatam. So we thank Krishna that we're not on the heavenly planets because we wouldn't be at the Hare Krishna temple. We'd be out drinking samaras with some beautiful women or guy in some Nandanan garden. So here we are. So we're grateful to Krishna that the world is the way it is. So we honor God and great spiritual teachers for bringing us the gift of knowledge that life is suffering. And perfect happiness doesn't exist in this world. And we honor God for teaching us lessons through suffering, just like we learn through suffering, right? Yet, isn't it hypocritical that we blame our offender when he or she brings us the same gift as a life lesson? Is one a better teacher than the other? Should I bow down to one and blame the other? Is it possible that all things work to help and there is really no one to blame and no one to forgive? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So if you need to talk to me, I'll be right here. You can tie me up as long as you like. And I'll be around a little bit tomorrow, then I'm going to Juhu in the afternoon.
So, I'd like to thank His Grace Mahatma Prabhu for giving such a wonderful talk for the last 3 days. Very relevant principles which we can apply in our life for our day-to-day problems. I would like to express our gratitude to His Grace Mahatma Prabhu. Actually, he had a whole day long seminar in the Juhu, like morning to evening. And then there was apparently no gap between that seminar and this seminar. So he has really had to put a lot of effort to serve all of us. So we would like to express our gratitude by our traditional style, by loudly chanting. So I just want to make a few announcements that we have distributed the feedback forms. So those those who are not got the feedback form, you can take and then you can fill up the feedback form and give it to us before you leave. We will be announcing the next seminar in the coming weeks, so you can keep yourself, you can keep a watch in the notice board or in the temple website or the Facebook in order to register for the next seminar.